conflicting meta tags, which gets priority? And the question is, I have a site with two conflicting meta tags, meta robots no index, and then a meta robots follow index. Let's ignore why for a moment, but I want this page to not be indexed. Will my first no index or my second index site be used by Google?
All right, so it's a good question, and I'm going to bring up an example, I think, because we mentioned this earlier when we were talking. Basically, it's cumulative towards the negative, the most restraining. So if he has a robots meta tag that says no index, and then he has one after that says, follow an index, it's going to no index it because that's the most restrictive one. So here's let me share my screen here, and I'll show you a couple quick examples, one from an old presentation that I had. So here's an example. Let me open this up a bit more. So here's an example where if you have meta name robots content equals no follow and meta name Googlebot content equals no index, since we're not naming a specific robot here, right? We're naming all robots. In essence, we're going to have Googlebot's going to say no index and no follow. So it's going to be cumulative, but leaning towards the negative. In addition, there is a good article here on Google, developers.google.com search blog. You can just type using robots meta tags on the developer site, and you'll see they give you some examples here. So here's one. If content values conflict, they will use the most restrictive. So in this case here, if you have meta name robots content equals no index and meta name robots content equals index, the no index value is going to win out. So basically, they would prefer to err on the side of it not showing up or not indexing than to index something you don't want indexed. So in his case here, ideally the thing to do is to get rid of two conflicting ones, right? But if you do have one, and typically we don't really see a meta name equals robots tag with have multiple tags unless you're specifically targeting a particular bot, right? Like example, going back here we're particularly telling, hey, Googlebot, you're not allowed to index anything, right? And the thinking would be if I say no index, it's going to be no index and follow because that's going to be the default if you don't put it in there. But because this one is saying all robots can be no follow, it's basically going to add it to this one too. So that's why the only time you really want to see more than one meta tag, meta name on a page is if you're calling out specific robots to do specific things. Otherwise, like I said here, it's going to go at the most restrictive value, okay? You can look for other stuff here as well. On this page, they've got things like, casing and spacing. If you have both a robot.txt file and a robot.meta tag file, that kind of can be an issue. If you guys are part of our All-Stars, you should be able to go follow or take a look at this robots, how to use the various robots meta tag. We have a whole document on robots.txt files, robots.meta tags that should be on the membership area. And that can give you some really detailed instructions about the different bots and what they do and how there's different ways to limit bots access and so on to your website, to their pages, to directories, and so on. But that should answer the question.